Okay, I think we'll just go ahead and start. First of all, thank everybody for getting up on a Saturday morning coming out. Elizabeth and I have been looking at different options, trying to figure out what is the best way to help our families and our players find the right match. Those who want to go get a college scholarship, it's not easy. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen. And so we've been trying to educate ourselves. It's not as simple as you go to a showcase tournament, guy says, oh, look at him, he's a good player, let's go offer him a scholarship. It just doesn't work that way, guys. There's so many things involved. First, you got to be a baseball player. There's lots of those. Then, you got to have good grades. There's lots of kids that have good grades. So now, there's still lots of kids that have both of those things. So, and then they're even looking at, okay, what kind of person is this player? Is he a good person? Is he well-rounded? He or she? Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that you guys need to know about what's required. Okay, it's just not real. It's not a real simple process. So we were looking at how do we help? How do we do something that's worthwhile that can make a difference? Hey, I think it'd be better to leave that open just simply for the airflow. I know I've been accused of hot air before. At any rate, the idea was, you know, first we went to the next level baseball stuff to get information and so forth. I don't know how many of you have looked at that online, the coach's corner and the different things there. There is good information there. My concern was, gee, there's a whole lot of stuff that has to be done. How do we get that done? How many people? It's all about the follow-through, the execution. It always has been, everything in life. You can know everything you got to do, but if you don't do it, and you don't do it effectively, you don't get the results. So, that led us to, actually Coach Beal led us to Matt. This Athlete University, okay? I've met with them a couple of times. I'm impressed with what they do. I'm impressed with their enthusiasm. It's obvious to me that the people I've talked to love what they do and they do it for the right reasons. So I said, come on in, let's explain what you do to the families. They're offering us a good discount on what they do. They do some really good stuff. Okay? So that's where I'm coming from. I want our players to get scholarships, the ones that deserve it and work for it. And then I want, you know, and I figure if that happens, then you might tell somebody. So what's in it for me? What's in it for me is, number one, I'd be very proud and thrilled because I've known a bunch of you a long time. And number two, you're going to probably tell somebody else and they're going to, go check out HQ4. Okay? So that's what's in it for me, for those of you who are sitting there wondering. So, with that, Matt is the guy that's going to be with us working hard. Ed's in the back there, he's the boss. And I've already forgotten that these beautiful ladies are the educational people, and I can't, sorry.
It's okay. Melinda and Serena.
Melinda and Serena.
Serena, correct.
Okay. Most of you know who Coach Beal is, and you know who Elizabeth. So, short presentation, question and answer. That's what we want. Question and answer. Let's find out what's going on, what I want you to learn. So, I'll shut up. Matt?
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it. Good morning. Thank you all very much for coming today. And like Al said, I know you have other things to do on Saturday. My name is Matt Turse. I'm a recruiting coordinator for Athlete University. Athlete University is not a recruiting company. We are what that says, an athletic scholarship assistance program. We are the leader in the industry at doing that. And today you'll learn why and how, and the different components that go along with joining our program. I'm going to quickly transition into enrollment for 1 second, because once an athlete is enrolled in our program, one of the first things that will happen is they will speak with our academic counselors from Collegiate Concierge And so today what we're going to do is I'm going to bring Melinda up and she's going to present to you exactly what Collegiate Concierge role is with Athlete University. And then I'll come back, go through exactly what we do on the athletic side, and tie it all together for you, and then we can have questions and answers afterwards, okay? So this is Melinda Daniel. Thank you.
Good morning. As Matt said, my name is Melinda Daniel, and I am one of the co-founders of Collegiate Concierge with my partner, Serena. She's going to come here and talk to you for a minute. But basically, if you're thinking about getting, how many of you would like to get a scholarship to go to college and play baseball? Any thoughts? You've already done it. Okay, how many of the parents would love for their kids to get scholarships to go to college and play baseball? That's awesome, right? Here's the thing, if you're gonna go to college, they're gonna expect you to learn something, right? And that's where we come in. Our expertise is actually in the education part as opposed to athlete part. So if I try to use some example and it doesn't really work, just ignore me. It's about, our focus is on the academics, okay? Because they call you student athletes, right? So let's talk about the student part. So a little bit about what we do. We've created a database, parents. And basically what that database holds is all of the quantitative information about what colleges are looking for, okay? So you guys, high school, right, freshmen, sophomores, high school juniors, seniors. All right, so they're talking to you about ACT scores, SAT scores, they're talking to you about the writing part on the SAT, all of that stuff, right? GPAs, now grades are really counting. And when your parents told you that when you got to high school, it really started to matter, it does, okay? So what we do is we've created this database and we've compiled information. Now, parents, I'll be honest with you, you can go and find this, right? If you understand Title IV funding, IPEDS reports, and you know where to go pull this, you can go and pull it. If you're not sure where the IPEDS report is going to be on the campus, it may be a little more difficult. We've got a database, we pull it, we do it. So we've got all of this. So I just use North Carolina examples just for the sake of argument, but please know we have this information for any college in the country that takes Title IV funding. Title IV funding is when you fill out the FAFSA. If they take any kind of federal funding, they have to give us this information. It's public if you know where to go find it. So we go and we dig through this and build it out. So we've got GPAs, right? We've got SAT, ACT scores, and acceptance rates, right? So if you want to go play ball at Duke, it doesn't matter how good you are or anything else, only 11 out of every 100 apply that meet these minimum qualifications. Okay, so for every 100 that meet these qualifications, they take 11, right? Because if you don't meet those qualifications, you don't get to go in that pool. That's what we talk about. So the other thing we talk about, parents, when we're working with students that are not athletes, we talk about getting the biggest bang for your buck, okay? And let's say that your kid is going to get a 50% scholarship based on athletics. So do we want to figure out how we're going to come up as parents with the other $30,000 a year? $22,000 a year, 21, you see what I'm saying? So we talk about that part too, because what we believe is that if, what's your name? Sorry? Nick? If Nick's gonna get a full ride to Duke to go play ball, does that sound good, Nick? Then that means, Nick's feeling good about this. Nick's parents feeling good about this. Nick's parents feeling good about this. Nick? Florida, okay. Fair enough. So let's say though, for example, that Nick's gonna get that full ride to Duke. That means over the next 4 years of Nick's life, they're paying him $250,000 to play ball and go to class. Tell me they don't want that 365 athlete. They want it all, because they're paying you $250,000. You're 18 years old. That's a lot of money, dude. That's a lot. I'm in education, that is a lot of money. So what we talk about is all of that with parents. And then what we do is we take the information on Nick, on the other students, all the schools that you're interested in, and put it on a graph. Here's what's most important. If you get nothing else from what Serena and I say today, here's what I want you to see. There's NCAA standards. The minimum qualifications for NCAA, anybody know what the GPA is?
2.3.
It's 2.2 GPA. You can't get into these schools. And, Carolina, I'm calling you. What's your name? Keith. Keith's carrying at Carolina. Have you heard about the problem that Carolina had last year with the football players? Okay. Courtesy of that, do you know that they're having to turn in test scores this year? So for all of those students, the student athletes this year, courtesy of SACS, which is the accrediting body that covers Chapel Hill, they have to turn in their test scores to show that these student athletes are doing what they're supposed to do as students. So being good isn't enough anymore. And quite frankly, being great, if you're not backing it up like what Al said, with also being a good student, it's not gonna count. Now, if you've got a heck, right, like you can just, you're hitting them out of the park all the time. I'm already struggling with my baseball metaphors, but you're just nailing it, right? And you're hitting doubles and triples all the time and you don't have errors. And am I doing good, Mom? I've got lots of stuff I can think of. Okay, so and I'm done, that's all I got. But if you're doing that, and you're a great student, right? Or even a good student, that recruiter now has to go to the admissions rep and sell why you should get to go to Carolina, why you should get to go somewhere in Florida. Not Duke, right? We're going to Florida, yeah, wherever, right? Wherever it is that you're going to go, they've got to go sell that now. Right? And the process of selling that is a lot easier if you're also a good student. That's what we do. So we take the information from that sheet before, and we help students and their families come up with a plan. And we do that starting your freshman year of high school, sophomore year of high school. By the junior year of high school, we can do it, but man, we are sprinting and using some marathon thing that I can't even, we're doing like short sprints at that point. In senior year, we can still help set realistic expectations for what's already been done. That's what we do. We come up with a plan and say, you know what, you got the bronze, right? You're doing your baseball thing, you got that. Here's where we need to be with grades. Here's what we're shooting for with SAT scores, ACT scores. And then we also look at it and say, and are you a good human? Right? And what I mean by a good human is, are you giving back to society? Right? Are you helping? Your coaches are looking for that well-rounded person, right? It's going to be a good person on and off the field, and we help come up with that plan. And yeah. As we do. So now I'm going to turn it over to Serena to talk a little bit more about what we do.
So in addition to what Melinda has already discussed, one of the additional services that we provide, we work with a ton of students, that some of the students have a need or have used a 504 and IEP plan while they're in high school. And basically that works for students who have ADHD, learning disability, math disability. One of the biggest components that we try to help families for students that have had a 504 or IEP plan as a transition plan, because that's really important, because 504s and IEPs are not the acceptable documentation going to college and university setting. So we help families come up and students come up with that transition plan to make sure they have the services that they need to meet the graduation, to be able to graduate and have the support that you need at that four-year school to graduate. Additionally, we do help students kind of think long-term as well. If your career choice is going to require some graduate work, a master's degree, maybe an MBA, or you want to go into medical school, we start talking about the long game in terms of if that is your goal, and we start thinking about graduate school, what is it going to take for you to do undergrad to get you in the best position for graduate school? So that's really critical when we have that conversation. Point 3 was one that we spend a lot of time with family. We help mitigate that stress, that conversation between the student and the parent in terms of, I want to go to Duke, but maybe dad wants us to go to Florida, and we're trying to have a conversation about the cost. We're talking about all these things. Sometimes it's stressful. It's a big choice. It's a big decision to make, and you make a decision to go to a four-year school, and you look at cost and all the requirements for academics. We spend a lot of time in helping families have that tough conversation, having realistic conversations about the facts. The facts are GPA, the facts are cost of an institution, the facts are what courses are you going to take, as well as how you're going to manage your time for practices and games and those kind of things. So we spend a lot of time helping in those areas. So the value. So the average tuition with room and board in North Carolina is about $30,000. Working with Collegiate, what we charge annually is 1.5% of that $30,000. Signing up with YOUniversity and ASAP program for the first year, our services are included in the cost in signing up and registering with the ASAP program. So that's the value, and we really believe, we wish college tuition was not as astronomical as it is. It's ridiculous. It's a whole other conversation. However, we really try our best, and we really think it's important to be strategic in that decision. Where are you going to go? How do you get the most bang for your buck? It's really critical, and that's one thing that we really work hard in communicating with families and doing the research in our database so folks can make the best decision for their families. Other services, real quickly, we do assist families with college visit trip planning. That's really helpful as you get ready to make the transition. You want to go visit these schools early. Look at the campus, eat in the cafeteria, check out some of the sites in this community as a whole, because you got to get a vibe. How do you feel on that campus? Is it too big? Is it too small? You want to go and visit and kind of experience that environment, and we help families set up the visits to those campuses. We also help with the college application and timeline. So you have an idea of what steps are needed, when they're needed, and how timely certain responses and applications are needed to be turned in, so we help with that. And then we do provide other a la carte services depending on what your needs are, and we can talk a little bit more in detail when we get to that point. So we provide a real comprehensive service from an academic standpoint that really is necessary when you make these major life decisions. That's pretty much the end of our presentation. Matt, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll have questions at the end.
Thank you. So, one thing I wanted to make clear is that enrolling with Athlete University, these ladies are one of the first people you'll talk to. You'll talk to myself and possibly my CEO. But Melinda and Serena sit down with the families, the student athlete and the parents, and really put you on the track that you need to be on for the academic pieces. I'm glad you guys are here today. The athletes, a lot of times it's just parents, so I appreciate you guys coming. Okay, a little bit about Athlete University. So Athlete University was founded by Ed Mencken, who's in the back today. You'll be able to speak to them. And Pam Monk. Pam is in Raleigh. They have over 30 years of experience as coaches and recruiters. They've worked in colleges, Pop Warner High School, all the way. So what Pam and Ed did was they were watching the recruiting, the way of the recruiting world. And what happens most of the time is scouts and colleges will come in and kind of take up the cream of the crop. They'll take all these high-level D1 kids that are well-known in the area, and they leave a group of deserving, under-recruited athletes at every level, D1, 2, 3, NAIA, JUCO. So we have a big group of these kids, and Pam and Ed were starting to help these kids get scholarships in school. So they came together, formed this company, Athlete University, and now they're really proud about the fact that we are helping not just the high level kids, but the kids that maybe go to a JUCO, especially in baseball. We're talking about baseball. There's many kids that will go to a JUCO first, junior college, and then move up to a Division I school. You probably know that. So Ed and Pam have the same goals that our partners do. The same, we all share the same passion, the same goal, and it's to see these guys and girls get to the next level. Who does Athlete University help? Okay, so I kind of touched on it, but we help deserving athletes. You must be a qualified deserving athlete, right? So boys, girls, almost every sport. We have plenty of softball players, basketball players, track and field, you name it. So if there's a deserving student athlete that meets the qualifications on and off the field, we're helping them get to the next level. Again, this is what we specialize in, the just missed athletes, okay? So we kind of coined the phrase under-recruited because nobody had kind of spoke about that when we were when we first came into the industry. Nobody talked about what is under-recruited. Well, under-recruited can mean a slew of different things, but the mainstay of it is that you're not being looked at, okay, by scouts, by college coaches, by athletic directors. You may be promised by your high school coach or a coach that you go to a tournament or a combine and there's going to be coaches there, and there might be there, but you're not really being looked at the way you should. When you're looked at, you're talked to, your contact is made, unofficial and official visits start to happen, and we'll talk about that in a second. And yeah, there's so many options for a deserving athlete. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so this is kind of big. You guys are freshmen, sophomore? Where are you? Juniors? Any juniors? No? One junior back here? So we enroll seniors to a certain point. We do enroll seniors. But we love freshmen, sophomore, sometimes 8th grade. And we'll talk about that more later. But the reason is, once you're enrolled with Athlete University, that's it. You are with us until you sign your letter of intent, okay? So if you're a freshman, you have 4 years of dealing with me, okay? In a good way, okay? So it changes year by year. Our grades change, we grow, we get better at our craft, and when you're with Athlete University, we're continually updating that information, and we are there to steer you in the right direction. You know, things happen in high school. I've been there. So that's important to know that once you're a freshman, a sophomore, you enroll with us, we're good. We're with you until you sign your letter. And the thing about the 8th grade is it's all about exposure. Okay, Alabama football is signing 8th graders to letters of intent. I know you shake your head, right? I know. 8th graders, national TV signing their letters of intent. We're not looking to do that. We're looking to get 8th graders, 9th graders exposure and grow with them. We're not looking for them to sign at 8th grade, but it does happen. Okay, I already talked about that. So here's the big thing, guys. This is it, Athletic Scholarship Assistance Program. What is that? What am I talking about? Okay? I'm going to give you, okay. Sorry, I just got off here. I talked about the qualified athletes. Okay, so what separates us in what we do? The first thing is that we reach out to college coaches. When I say we reach out, we visit college campuses. Our recruiters up and down the coast, through the Midwest and out west, we are in colleges. For example, for me, I'm at Winthrop a lot. That's just where I go. So I'm talking to the baseball coach, softball coach, soccer coach, basketball coach. The reason is I'm finding out what they need. What type of athletes are they looking for? And now I start to get information provided to me exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for a shortstop. Well, guess what? This shortstop's got to hit 300 and needs to be so tall, run a 60-yard dash under a certain time. I can go into my database and find our enrolled athletes. If one of those fits that profile that they need, that's instant contact, okay? They're going straight to that coach for a conversation. If one coach needs that player, probably hundreds of coaches need the same player. But I'm going to actually show you a real live survey at the end of this that we received from the coaches. We walk in, talk to them, give them a survey that looks like this. They fill it out and they tell us what athlete they're looking for. That's pretty cool. I don't know any other company that's actually doing that inside the colleges, developing that kind of relationship. So here's the next thing, and it's a big thing. A professional and interactive online athletic and academic resume. What is that? That is the profile that we put together for the student athlete, okay? I'm going to show you that as well, but just to hit on a couple things, that profile includes game film, practice film, transcripts, coach's letter, reference letters, everything that a coach wants to see. How does that get to the coach? Mass campaigns. Once we've all sat down as a family, the parents, the athlete, myself, Collegiate Concierge, we decide what's the best fit. What level are we looking at? Are we D1, D2, NAIA? Now, what area geographically do we want to go? I have many athletes say, I don't care where I go, I just want a scholarship. I just want to play baseball. But we also have the situation where I don't want to leave home. I don't want to be gone. I don't want to be frozen 100 miles away from home. So we drill all that down, and we have a database and a campaign service that we take that profile, that online resume, and it goes to every single coach that fits that filter. So D2, Northeast, every school, that campaign gets sent to. Multiple times throughout your 4 years, multiple times. And what happens is we start generating leverage. We start generating scholarship offers. So even if we have a D1 athlete or a high-level D2 athlete, we want to get other offers. We want to get NAIA, we want to get D2, D3. And some of you are shaking your head because you understand that. So, because what happens if you call If Coach Fox up in North Carolina, Chapel Hill, talks to you on the phone, and he asks you if you have any offers, and you say no, it's pretty much the end of the conversation, because that's a red flag. So the more offers we have, the more leverage we have. The goal is as many offers as possible, and the goal is then to get the best fit for the family. Where do we want to go to school? We have 10 offers. We're only allowed X amount of visits during your sophomore and junior year. Where do we want to go? So we narrow it down to 3, and then we have the decision to sign our national letter of intent after an official visit. Okay? So again, I want to reiterate, we have access to every coach in the country, every member on their staff. So when we send the campaign to Gardner Webb, every member of that staff can get that campaign, can get that online resume/profile. Does that make sense? So imagine that times 100, 200. If you have the grades, if you have it on the field, you're going to get the offer. It happens every day for us. Okay, so when you enroll with Athlete University, you're assigned a recruiting coordinator. In this general area, it's me. We have other ones as well. So you live with me for 4 years. What I do is I contact you, sometimes in the beginning every day, and you get sick of me, but I'm making sure you're doing the right thing. Then every week, maybe there's some off time where you don't hear from me for 2 weeks. We're in constant contact. You don't know it, but I'm going to your games. I'm watching you. I'm cheering you on. I might be filming you. I might be blasting you out on social media. I might have the tens of thousands of coaches that follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook check you out that night, okay? So I'm with you the whole way. I don't want you to stress it. What I want the kids to do is to work on the field, in the training room, and in the classroom. And if the parents are on the same page and we're all pushing together, we take the stress of the recruiting. Simple. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to market yourself or market your child to a college. It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing in the world. We are the most trusted athletic scholarship assistance program in the country. Nobody has what we have, okay? Nobody has a full academic department. Check it out for yourself and let me know. These ladies are amazing at what they do. And when you tie that together with what we do and our contacts and how we do things, we get results. And our team is, I love our team. We have a team full of coaches, recruiters, teachers. We have ex-players, current players that are with us. Everyone has knowledge of the same process, okay? And most importantly, not only that they genuinely care, but their parents. Most of the recruiters are parents. Not all of them, but most of them have had this situation in their personal life, like I have, or they have kids that are involved with this as well. This is my contact information, and we do offer free evaluations. I want to talk about this real quick. This is a questionnaire that's on this table. Whether you want to enroll today, whether you want to just fill out that questionnaire, it's kind of self-explanatory. You'll get feedback. All of the cards, the trifolds, are up here. But before we do that, so you don't think I'm just blowing smoke up here, I want to show you a couple things. Or maybe not. Here we go. Melinda, did you have the set so whatever comes up here will pop up, like desktop wise? No, it's okay. I'm just trying to get this one survey up here. Bear with me, guys. I want to show you this. Would you know how to pull this up? In the meantime, while we're looking at that, when we do a player profile, have you guys ever done have you ever had a profile done on you at all as an athlete? It's pretty neat. So it's ever evolving. So our player profile will change every year, right? Because the kid changes, the grades change. And we add to and subtract from. And, sorry guys.
You're good, sorry.
Is that the one that's filled out? Oh. Sorry. So this is going to be, when it comes up here, I'm sure it's my fault, I'm not the computer genius here. That's not the right one either. Ed had a
Don't blame it on me. I'm back here.
Yeah. Guys, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna get this up in a minute. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you the,
It's entertaining.
I never was. Somebody always did that for me.
Yeah, I know.
I did the talking, they did that.